And we live. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Watch on my reviews. It's your boy James. I am here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. It might happen. There's the Braxtons season 1, episode 3. Joining me as always is my co-host, Mrs. Vesh. I'll say what's up to her.
Hello, good evening. Happy weekending.
Yes, it is the weekend. Ooh, it's been a long day for me, y'all. So we're gonna try to get through this one and see what's going on. So the scene opens up directly with Miss E, Tawanda, and Trina going out to dinner, and Miss E makes the statement about Lil Kev, or not Miss E. They make the statement about Lil Kevin, and Tawanda. Hey, how's it going there? Tawanda makes a statement that she doesn't want to tell his business, but she did mention like a little snippet of he basically did not deal with a situation from his marriage. I guess there was some kind of dispute. So what ended up happening was he had to respond back to the warrant and end up getting, locked up. So he does call them in the middle of that dinner or lunch that they were at and tells them the information. And so Tawanda says she will call him later. And I'm just like, I have a feeling that it's the ex-wife or the wife. I do. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna say allegedly to protect my channel, but I feel like she set him up. I do. I feel like there's no way, unless there were bounty hunters, there is no way that
I
one.
mean, they pretty much admitted that it was something related to the divorce, so she has to be involved. But I don't, I feel like they're using this boy for views because they filming it, but they're not telling us nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
I really don't, I don't like that. In some ways, they're also kind of using Tracy's death for profit because I don't understand it.
I
That
don't know
was
if it's
good.
child support because they're technically not divorced yet. So I don't know if there's been any court hearings. I feel like this, and see, that's the thing. We don't know anything about Tracy's husband and son that much because they're not as involved on the show like Trina's husband or Tawanda's husband when she was married to that teacher, or we don't really know too much about them. So I don't know what it is really to say. For them to use as storyline, I agree with Mrs. Best. I kind of feel like they're just using this for ratings. I do. And I feel like Tawanda is calculated in that way because this is all up her storyline. She's the one who has direct contact with him, from what we understand. So I don't know. It's very weird. So, Miss E says that she was, very, heartbroken because she feels like her daughters aren't honoring Tracy's last, which was for all of them to get along. And I'm just like, they never got along. From season 1 up until where we are today, we have seen all of these sisters, with probably the exception of Tony. I know Tony and Tamar had their little sister spats, but it wasn't that serious. But we have seen Tamar and Trina, Tamar and Tracy, Tamar and Tawanda all have like some serious, serious issues of not getting along on this show. So I kind of feel like she was reaching for that one because, yes, that could be Tracy's wishes, but a lot of the relationships that we saw on Braxton Family Values were already strained, even with Tracy still being here. So I kind of felt like I didn't know where she was going with that one. I was turned off by that. Mrs. Best, how did you feel about that statement?
Um, I don't want to hear about these sisters beefing no more. If y'all don't like each other, just don't do the show together.
And that's what I feel like I feel like there's a truth here that we're not hearing or seeing because it develops with a whole bunch of really rustic egos, i.e. Tawanda. Because if you guys have not noticed, the focus really has been about her and Trina more so than it has been on Tony and Tamar and Missy. Like it's really just zoning in on how they're feeling, and we're seeing more so. So I'm wondering if they came back on the show for the check and to get back out there because all we know Tawanda to do is Tubi movies, and then Trina has her YouTube show. So I'm wondering what the draw is because I feel like they were ready to come back to reality TV. This is
They
very evident.
definitely weren't. They definitely were not ready. I think that's something everybody can agree in. And I think it is for the money. I don't think it's for one sister that needs the money. I don't think Tony needs it. I don't think Tamar needs it. So yeah, I'll leave it there. The other two, I don't even think Trina needs it because she has a pretty good following from doing the Sister Circle live. But Tawanda's always been that one.
That you never know which way the wind blows with her, because we
Yeah,
know, allegedly, because I can't find the court documents, we know that her, allegedly her home was foreclosed on, and we know that allegedly she filed bankruptcy, allegedly. So I don't know where Tawanda is financially, but it just seems like they're throwing stuff together and they're not really focused, because this is not how I remember the Braxtons being on TV. I don't remember them being on TV like this. It just seems like they're all cold towards each other. And I just feel like for Tawanda, I'm starting to see her as very passive aggressive, and I don't like it. I don't like
she's
it at
been
all.
passive aggressive. I've been saying that since season one of her. She's not, she has a big ego, but she shows it differently. She's not going to allow people to see
Hmm.
that she wants the fame that Tamar and Tony have, or things of that nature. But she's very passive aggressive. I actually think, and Tracy said it in earlier seasons, that she's the root of most of the drama and problems.
Mm.
She just knows how to hide it.
Especially that last season. Yeah, absolutely. When Tawanda was with that new man, the one she's
Yeah.
with now. Yeah, I definitely saw that. So um, they end the lunch. Miss E said, one of y'all got to pay the bill. And Tawanda hurried up and said Trina's name. And she said, because if I pay this bill, Tony's going to have a fit. So it was kind of like, okay, so are you dependent back on Tony again? Like, what's going on there? So I need them to elaborate these storylines a little bit more. Um, so they all kind of felt the way. There's like tattletale, like why would you tell Tony that you had to pay or whatever? I'm just like, this is so silly. This ain't nothing. So the next thing we see is Tony having her conversation with her manager and producer for her Vegas residency. She voices that she has huge concerns because her last Vegas residency, you guys know, Tony was diagnosed with lupus and had to drop out of her residency. So getting another one, she definitely has those same reservation because the stakes are now serious. She has not did a tour in about 4 years, and she's just, really just not in a great space with doing this, even though the show and the lineup is completely different from her other show. So she's voicing all of these concerns. And hey, Jim Bunny, thank you for coming. We appreciate you. Yes, Saturday Night Live. I'm delaying everything. I had some things to take care of. So, but I'm here. But pretty much, they kind of just reassure that everything is going to be just fine and that everything will work itself out. And they'll make sure that, they're conscious of everything. Was there anything else you want to add to the scene, Mrs. Best? Because that's all it really was.
Boring as hell.
Right. So then the next thing we see is Miss E and Tamar. They are out, talking out in, I think it was a park or something. And Tamar mentions that she's actually going to, she began writing her memoirs and she wants to write a book. And Miss E says she definitely should write a book because she has been through a lot. And Tamar pretty much says that every time she thinks she's done with this book, um, it seemed like we got a totally different Tamar this episode that we have, in previous episodes and even earlier seasons.
I think
But
it's because we got her separate from her sisters. I feel like all of
mhm,
them to some extent do this, but especially Tamar. She goes to a place of being the younger, immature sibling because she is the youngest whenever she's around them. But separate from them, she's in therapy and trying to figure it out when she's not acting a fool on social media.
she got that baby syndrome down pat. When I tell you she do, she got that baby syndrome. If I ain't never seen one in the life, I thought about paperback.
I love Jim Bunny for that.
Well, but that was pretty much it. Trina then goes to visit Spirit to do her grief counseling. She actually was telling Tawana that she's going to go back and see her, which she needed to, because when it came down to it, Trina was saying that, in the sessions, that she has a hard time sleeping because her ex husband Gabe comes and visits her in her dream along with Tracy. And she says she doesn't have a safe space because her husband pretty much tells her, like, why are you still crying over that? Why are you still, you know, dealing with that? You should be over it. And it was like, okay, sir. Okay, sir. First off, she was with that man a lot longer than she's been with you. That man helped her raise her kids that are not his, by the way, might we say. Was he a shitty husband? Absolutely. He was terrible. We saw that in the first couple of seasons. But she married him twice, I think, on the show. I think she was married to a total of 3 times, but she married him twice and had a lot of love for him. So that's a huge part of her life. And just because you feel a way about it does not mean that she can't mourn his death. That was really crazy to me when Trina said that. How did you feel hearing that?
Childish. Um, if you marry someone, I would assume that you love them enough and they mattered so much to you that you wanted to take that next step. So just because something don't work out doesn't mean the love just entirely dies. And he did do a lot for her. She learned Spanish for him. There's a lot of history that was there, and they were good friends after their divorce and all of that. They were friends in
Um,
high school as
were
well.
they? Okay.
They
Okay. I
were.
didn't know that. Yeah.
So she's known him most of her life, especially in all of her adult life. So she has a right to grieve someone she cared for. I don't like when people act like intimidated or whatnot by somebody who did. Like, he's not here. So yeah.
Yeah. And Trina's standpoint from this grief counseling, from what I got, was she doesn't want to see either one. She doesn't want to see Gabe. She doesn't want to see Tracy. And I think that that's fair because death should never be something that haunts us. Like when we lose a loved one, it should be something that we'll always carry with us as a remembrance. And I think that a lot of people have, bad inklings of death, but I feel for her. I'm not going to really talk about that scene with her and her husband just because it was just really stupid because at the grand scheme of things, she does not have a safe place with him for her thoughts. I'm not saying he's not a good husband or anything. I just think that her private thoughts and her grieving process, I feel like she should let him in if the moment that she tells her about one grieving stage of her life, he shuts it down because it had to do with a former husband. That's crazy to me that that's even a conversation that she has to have. So yeah, I'm not gonna go into that too much because that shit bothered me to no end. Did you want to touch base on anything between the conversation with her and what's that man's name?
Vaughn.
Vaughn. Thank you. Did you want to touch anything on that?
No, I think
Oh,
through and through, all I do think that they're a good couple, but
mhm.
he just gets on my nerves sometimes.
No, I just feel like you could at least let her have it because the man's no longer here, so you can at least let her have that. Would you say, yeah, it's corny that you are jealous of a dead man or intimidated by any way of his spirit? It is, and that's why I was like, when she said that, I was like, well, I mean, it's not like she can go pop up at his house and go check on him or anything. The man's not here anymore. So I don't understand. Like to me, that was so immature. I think that's the best way I'm gonna put it, is that it was very immature. It's very like, and also that's also passive aggressive as well, because regardless of how you feel, that man was still a big part of her life, like Mrs. Best said. So yeah, it's very passive aggressive, and I didn't like it. As a fan watching it, I didn't like it because I felt like to some degree you don't support her in all ways. And in marriage, I feel like you should, regardless if you agree with the situation or not. Trust that they are doing what's best for them. And if she needs to grieve that man, and if it's taking her some time, you need to support her in that, not completely feel away just because she's to be married to him. It's crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is Missy and Tamar. They have a show coming on. Is it called Clio TV? I think that's what the thing is called. Yeah, that sounds right. They have a cooking show on there, and I can't wait for it to air because it looks entertaining to say the least. Um, Once they start cooking and everything, Trina does come and she's in better spirits and she's showing her mixology skills, which I feel like is excellent. I'm glad that Trina still has it. I don't know if Bar Chicks is still open. I don't remember. I think it is. I think you can still go to Bar Chicks if I'm not mistaken.
The last I checked, you could, but that was about a year and a half ago. So, you know, anything can happen, but she did her thing with Bar Chick. She did.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a brilliant idea, and I think that overall, I'm sorry, I just saw Jim Bunny's comment about Aunt Nikki, and I'm just like, oh baby, I can't wait to get to that video. It's not really on Nikki. I'm going at. I'm gonna go at her a little bit because I didn't like what she did in the beginning, but but yeah, I just saw that Jim Bunny. I had to address that. But that was pretty much the episode, y'all. It really was nothing. The Braxtons is starting out very, very slow. And I need them, if they're gonna be back on week TV, I need them to pick it up a little bit. I don't, care for the bickering and the family drama, but it just seems like it's internal isolation between all of the sisters. And I don't like that. I just don't. I think it's terrible. So yeah, but that's pretty much it. Mrs. Best, is there anything you want to add?
No, not much to say with this episode.
Okay, well, perfect. Well, we're gonna go ahead and end the live for the Braxton show. I'm trying with this show. I'm not gonna drop it just yet. I'm trying with it. I'm gonna see how it goes, but they need to do something with it because it was not given. But the next recap we're gonna do is Family Empire Houston. Y'all do not want to miss this because it was a very good episode, and I'm here for it all. So I'll see you guys on my next recap, guys. Bye.